Hi all of you watching this video. Today I want to talk a little bit about the connection between breathing, the way we breathe, our emotions, our stress. So there's a lot we can say, and one of the first things is that usually our emotions have an almost direct, immediate influence in the way we are breathing. We know that, for instance, if we take a look at old movies, like black and white movies from the old times when they could not actually speak, when they had to show their emotions. And so they would do it through facial expression that was somehow very strong many times, but also through the way they moved and the way they were breathing, showing their breathing process, like when they were very anxious, or like when they were frightened, or in the way suddenly they were a little bit surprised by something. So the emotion can be showing up in the breathing process, but we can also influence emotions through the way we are breathing. We can breathe our emotions in and out almost literally. We also know that when we are depressed, there is this tendency to inhibit our breathing process. So we shrink, we breathe less, we are constrained in the way we are withdrawing inside, perhaps we are not breathing that much. When we are angry, many times we almost snarl like we breathe out, but towards the other, eventually in an aggressive way. We are gaining territory towards the other person. Of course, our voice also changes a lot and so on. But so what happens with our breath process, our breathing process, and our emotions? There is a correlation. Usually I would say that expansive, nice, peaceful emotions have a tendency to relax our breathing process and to allow it to be bigger to some extent, to expand, be more elastic. And tension at the emotional level shows up in the body and shrinks the breathing process, makes our breathing process more tense to some extent. So, to us, it becomes very important to breathe peacefully, in an elastic way, in an open way, expanding. As when we sigh, we notice that usually it's as if our body is getting rid of some tension, like and as we sigh, we are indeed relaxing. Usually it's like breathing the tensions out. But we also know that, or we can notice, that when we want to quiet down, we want to become more peaceful, we want to dive into tranquility, it's good to have the opposite actually of the breath process of stress that usually superficial, agitated, sometimes chaotic or chaotic. And now we want it to be deeper, slower, and we don't want it to be without stops. We want to have pauses in it. And it really helps a lot if we also breathe more as we breathe out than we breathe in a way, for a longer time, like if we breathe with the whole of our lungs, it's better. And if we breathe out for eventually even twice the time as we breathe in, there is this deep effect of calming down, of letting go of some tension. So we relax more, we become quieter to some extent. So usually there are many ways to breathe, but we can use the breathing process to calm down, to become more peaceful, to come back to the present time also, because we are not breathing in the past or the future, we are breathing now, here. But we can also breathe in different ways according to what we want to do. For instance, sometimes we are just too nervous, too anxious, and we want to really get into a different state. So sometimes we can start breathing intensely and in a speedy way, and breathing at a superficial level, to then progressively change it. So we can, for instance, for a minute, we breathe like not so nice, but it's worthwhile the effort to do this. And then, after 1 minute, we slow down a little bit, but not that much, like and then after this second minute, we go to now a breathing process that is slower, deeper, with pauses, and we'll feel that our body likes this. It's even thankful for this, like so now it's really getting better. It's nice to do this. And then we can do other stuff, relax even deeper, use our imagination. But that's a different area. So usually the breathing process of disturbance, agitation, stress, anxiety is totally different from the breathing process of peace of mind, of clarity of mind, of tranquility. And changing the way we breathe, we have a direct influence on all of this. But there's a lot more we can do. We already noticed that as we breathe with pauses, one pause after breathing in, and we breathe out, there is another small pause, then we breathe in. This process helps a lot already. It helps even more if we are breathing deeply, but without a big effort. And if we are breathing with the whole of our lungs. But then we can do this also in a different way. We can feel that we are overwhelmed by negative emotions. So we can assign them a color. There is no definite absolute rule for this. Usually, the majority of people will have the tendency to assign a darker color to negative, unpleasant emotions, and a lighter color to positive, nice emotions. So the idea here is that we can breathe out the negative emotions, the negative feelings, and you can breathe in the positive ones. So let's imagine that I am feeling sad, like I am deeply worried, I am feeling a whole heaviness upon my shoulders, and for some moments, perhaps 1 minute or two, I just acknowledge that. I don't fight it, but I breathe that out. So each time I breathe out, I imagine I'm breathing out air that is full of this dark color, like releasing, getting rid of this darkness, of this heaviness each time, breathing out, relaxing, and then breathing in. Afterwards, I can be breathing in a nice positive color And now, instead of sadness, it could be joy. Instead of worrying, it could be a positive spirit, optimism, or perhaps just clarity of mind and being in the present time in a joyful way. So, clear color now, let's imagine that mine would be clear blue. I may imagine now that each time I breathe in, I bring inside of me a positive emotion, clean air, bluish clear blue, like full of sparkling particles of light in blue, and I breathe those in. And one thing I can also do to increase the whole process is that now, before I have been breathing out mostly the darkness, the heaviness, the negative feelings. Now, as I breathe in, I will bring in positive, clear, nice color, nice feeling, joy, and I breathe it in with the color I assign to this positivity, and I breathe out, now expanding this color and this feeling in my body. And of course, this brings with it a very nice feeling. It's a way to replenish. It's a way to feel positive, and in a way increasing our natural health, physiologically and even mentally. So this is my invitation for this moment. Later on we'll be considering other ways conscious breathing can be helpful to us. So, I like comments to my videos. Please do it. Just comment, let me know what you feel, how you think about it, share, and if you'd like to, subscribe the channel.